Folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin, and I am your host. And we're here again with Dexter Pitts. I am Pitts. He's a fellow podcaster and will be a published author very soon. You know, folks, some stuff happened recently, Juneteenth. So I didn't reach out to Dexter. Dexter reached out to me and said, "Hey, what are your thoughts?" So I gave my thoughts, and then he responded, and I said, "Whoa, I haven't heard this from anybody else." So I wanted to talk to him about that. And also talk to him about a few other things since then, since that time, since that incident, since that proclamation, national holidays come into play. A Black athlete has, I guess she suddenly thinks she's a reincarnation of Colin Kaepernick. And so she's protesting and stuff. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about Angela Davis. I found some things out about her I did not know. I was not at all aware of. Found it troubling, some things that came up. But this is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Guys, go to my website, booktalkwithcorbin.com, and you can make donations there and see my other great interviews, including a couple of interviews we've done with Dex. Dex.
Corbin, what's up, my man?
Hey. So share with us your whole thing on this new holiday we got. I know it's one more day off. I think it's a paid day off, but I wouldn't know. I'm an entrepreneur, so it don't matter to me.
Yeah, I'm not getting any extra money for working that day. I am no longer working in the Fed, so it does not count for me money-wise. But,
right.
Man, here's the deal, what we have to look at with Juneteenth. And this is what I spoke about it on my podcast briefly, is that did the Democrats do this for a political ploy? Potentially, yes. More than likely, considering politics in this day and age, you can't tell me that they did not do it. However, this is something I feel Juneteenth is something that should have happened a long time ago, but man, I feel like we have started splitting hairs in this country and making everything a political issue. And the truth is, there's all this infighting now. And there's people saying that, and the conservatives saying that Juneteenth is garbage and that we don't need it. But, it's making it to where there's no longer the 4th of July. And I don't think that's the case, man. I think everything has a place. And we all know the history of Black people in this country. We were slaves, my family members were slaves. And I really believe that Juneteenth is a good thing to have. Now, regardless of how the Democrats did it, my only issue is how they named it. National Independence Day. We only have one Independence Day. That's the 4th of July, 1776. However, I feel like people in the country, we do need to recognize and realize that on July 4th, 1776, my ancestors, your ancestors, anybody that has melanin in their skin that was not our official day of independence. However, we cannot discard the 4th of July simply for just Juneteenth because Black people came into freedom then. Without the 4th of July, there would have never been a Juneteenth. And this is why I say I feel like we're starting splitting hairs where people like, well, maybe we should make it the day that Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Maybe that should be the day. And I'm like, what does it really matter what day we choose? Because either way, this is a holiday that I think all Americans, not just Black Americans, could celebrate. This is something it's phenomenal, man. We were enslaved for so long, hundreds of years. And then we finally get this time, where, we're free, the Union Army rolls into Galveston, Texas, and this giant celebration. And it's crazy how a lot of Black people never heard of Juneteenth. I grew up, I knew what Juneteenth was. Not saying that we didn't necessarily celebrate it, but I was aware of it. But I was so shocked to realize how many people are unaware of what Juneteenth is, man. But you have people, and this is what I'll say about, you have people like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk and Officer Tatum, and I love them. I love what they're doing. But this is what I tell people. You have to remember, they are in the political space. And the best thing to do to stay relevant is you have to be controversial, unfortunately. And I think that they say a lot of things that are controversial because they know that it'll get them likes, it'll get them views. And, you know, she was saying that they think that Juneteenth is garbage because the Democrats are using it to split us. Potentially, I absolutely agree. However, I don't think we have to make everything a political issue because I think this is just something good across the board. I say, and the truth is, what is it going to change in anybody's life? I ask all my friends that are white and conservative, what is Juneteenth? How does it affect you negatively? It doesn't. How does it affect anybody? It doesn't. It's just a day off. It's just a day of remembrance, a day of celebration. Take it or leave it. We don't have to, you don't have to go out and set off fireworks. And there really is no, I don't, people are making it to where it's either we have to celebrate 4th of July or Juneteenth. I'm like, why can't we celebrate both? What does it hurt? It hurts nothing. But like I said, we make everything a political issue and we start splitting hairs.
Right.
You got to fall into one of the either camp or I'm for it or I'm not against it, in which I don't agree with. Like if we're going to just celebrate it.
Well, after I read some of your read and thought about some of your comments you had made about Juneteenth, I had to come to agree with you 100%. Came to agree with you rather quickly. The part where it says National Independence Day, that needs to go. It's just Juneteenth. I get that needs to go. That
was put there purposely, I think, to kind of stir, the division that's going on right now and how everything's so polarized. I really believe that the Democrats did that intentionally because they knew it was going to cause controversy. But however, it's crazy though that the Democrats did this. Donald Trump was apparently trying to do it, didn't get it through. But funny how the Democrats, I feel like the Republicans dropped the ball. The Republicans were the party that were out to abolish slavery.
Yes.
For Black people. This should have been something the Republicans pushed through. And I feel like they dropped the ball. And the Democrats came in, picked up the fumble, carried it in for the touchdown. And now they have this other tool in their belt. Like, hey, we gave you a special holiday.
Right.
Election day is coming up. You should probably vote for us. Think about that Juneteenth holiday we just gave you.
Right. And which they gave us under Biden, but didn't give it to us under 8 years of Obama. I guess that would be my response. But it was Obama for 8 years on this one. But no, I agree with you as far as I saw this as an opportunity after giving thought to what you said for conservatives to actually use this in stating, look, this is a great push forward for the whole nation, not just for Black people, for the whole nation. Of course, this was a blemish, an abomination on the nation, and it got to the point where we went to war to resolve it. 600,000 people were killed or injured. We went to war to abolish it. There's still slavery, flat out chattel slavery in several countries in this world today. But our attitude towards slavery was such that split the nation in half, and we just said the only way we're going to resolve this is to go to war. That's how important it was for us to resolve this issue. And as you said, the Republican Party was a leading force in that. It was a leading force in that. Lincoln, the great emancipator, was a Republican, period.
That's right.
In the discussion. So this is an opportunity for us to talk about that and really to some degree to celebrate and to say we're not a racist nation. You can start calling us a racist nation when we went to war to resolve this issue. We couldn't talk it out. We couldn't legislate it out. We couldn't reach any sort of compromise that was reasonable. It's either free or slave, and we had to go to war to resolve it. I like to see some Muslim nations, go to war over their anti-Semitism. I like to see some Muslim nations see if they'll go to war over, women's rights. Right. We'll see that.
A few Muslim nations still have, slave trading.
Yes, it's true. Absolutely. Here in the 21st century, we are still dealing with slavery, human trafficking, right here. That's why I no longer bring up this whole issue of reparations and for Black folk over slavery, because there are slaves right here now. And as a Black man, I should be embarrassed to say, I want reparations for something that was abolished back in 1863 when there may very well be some sex slaves right here in the city of Louisville and other parts of the Commonwealth of Kentucky in the 21st century.
Why should people today have to pay for the mistakes of what people yesterday did? in my book, I put this one part in there. Like, how would you feel if you were born into this world? You did nothing wrong. And then all of a sudden, somebody snatches you up and throws you in a cage and is like, hey, why? You're going to serve 20 years. Why? Well, your great grandfather did something. He's not alive, but guess what? You're going to do the time since he's not here.
Right.
You will be angered. you
Right.
will be beside yourself. Man, like, why do I didn't do it.
Right.
So why should everybody have to pay? But, that's when it gets into the whole, critical race theory. And then, we start going down that road of, money has been passed down from generations to generations and all that. And I'm just like, at what point are we going to learn, as Black people, we have to learn to forgive, the past and let things go, man.
And brother, I think that's, I agree with you on that too. And also, I think as Black folks, we need to understand that we have waged a struggle and won that struggle. We have waged a struggle and won that struggle. We are no more than 15% of the national population. Now, if white folks really wanted to be ugly about it, they say, look, you're a minority. We're going to ignore all your stuff and just really go in there and pound you. But we struggled and changed not just legislation, but their conscience.
Yes.
They're conscious. We changed their moral compass to the point to where we, black folk can play that race card and them white folks get upset and guilty and start throwing checks at you.
Yeah, because they're scared. But you know what I tell people, Corbin? Like, man, the word struggle, and I tell a lot of Black people this, we do not own struggle. We are not the only race of people that has struggled. The Jews have been mistreated since their inception, man.
Right.
I tell people, the Indians, what do you think happened to them when, the Europeans first got here?
Mm-hmm.
There's been slaves all over the place, and there's still slaves today, like we said.
Yes.
We don't own the struggle. We don't have the corner market on struggle. It ain't just us.
Right.
I'll tell them, have you talked to Black people in Africa?
Yeah.
And when they come here, they feel like they won the lottery.
Right. That's true. That's true. I've spent a lot of time in African nations when I was working as executive director for a nonprofit group. And brother, let me tell you something. One thing I've noticed is that they love that U.S. dollar, and they were always looking for that opportunity to come to the United States.
That's right.
Other thing I noticed is that a lot of them African students, I don't care if they're from West Africa, East Africa, I don't care if they're from Kenya, Cameroon, Botswana, Swaziland, I don't care where, Ghana, Nigeria, I don't care where they're coming from. They come to the United States, 90+% of them stay.
Oh, yeah.
and you'll bump into them 10, 15, 20 years later. There's their wife, their kids, their house, and they ain't thinking about going back. Maybe for a visit, but to live, no.
They ain't trying to hear what Marcus Garvey got to say.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, you better believe that. And it cracks me up, man. It cracks me up all the time. And, a lot of these local Pan-Africanists, I noticed they never invite me to go to their events, and then they put on their little dashikis and stuff. Because, I'd say to them, dude, be honest with you, I really didn't see a lot of them folks overseas in African nations dressed like that. Maybe special occasions, yes, but on a daily basis, no. And you talk all this stuff about raising a village and all that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Sounds nice, but when I was over there for weeks at a time, I wasn't hearing that. I wasn't seeing that. And I tell you one thing, man, this Black boy was happy when he landed back in LaGuardia or JFK.
It's funny though, Corbin. I tell people that all the time. You will never meet a more patriotic person that loves America than somebody who was not born here, immigrate here, and has to go through the process to become an American.
Right.
Because they appreciate this place, man. I was talking to a guy from Iraq the other day at work, and this dude was like, man, I just love being an American. America, this and that. And I was like, man, you ever go back home to visit your family in Iraq? He got a face like, for what? That's what he said. It's like, why would I want to go back? I was like, your family's still there. He's like, I don't care. He's like, no, I'm staying. They appreciate, they know what we have here, but like I said, we're those of us born here that have never been outside of here and experienced life outside of America. We don't know how good we got it.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
therefore, we don't have problems here. We create our own problems and make up our own problems.
Mhm.
Kind of like that the old girl from the Olympics that was taking a knee,
Yeah.
just or not taking a knee, that turned her back on the American flag.
Yeah.
It's like, what, you are in America. You're going to the Olympics. This country is taking care of you, and yet here you are disrespecting this country. Like, so why
And
even go represent this country in the first place if you think it's so evil?
right. And yeah, I'm running around talking about how oppressed she is. I'm oppressed, and I'm
Oppressive. She was
an
ambushed
athlete activist.
and ambushed by the ambushed by the national anthem. Like, what?
Right, right.
You know what? Maybe
I
she
was
would have played with
expecting
a
to
little
play
bit of
some
pride.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, she would have played with a little bit of pride of the country. Maybe she would have came in first and not third.
Right, right, right. And brother, when you think back, like you look at people like Jesse Owens. I mean, he
Oh
lived
yeah,
at a time when, shoot,
it
man,
was real.
it was rough to be right. It was rough.
Real.
It was rough, but he proudly worked his butt off to represent the United States in the Olympics in Nazi Germany.
Of all places, with Hitler in person.
Right, Nazi Germany. It's like this brother, like, hold up, man. You might get hurt over there. I don't care. I'm gonna go run for America. Okay. And yet, look at the attitude of these. I mean, these guys are pampered like Colin Kaepernick. Come on,
Yeah,
man. Really?
he got more money. I mean, heck, he was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, abandoned by his family. A white family adopts him, and then all of a sudden he goes to war against white people.
You're right.
Like, but that's because he got with that. His girlfriend was a big time activist. So like I said, I was a big time 49er fan, and I was Colin Kaepernick's biggest fan. I don't care what anybody says. I saw that transition, and man, that hurt me, bro. That hurt. God, that hurt. I was like, man.
And he gave $25,000 to Asata Shakur. She was part of that group of Black Liberation Army activists who
Oh yeah, she killed the cop over there. Yeah. And I'm just like, really, dude?
Yeah.
If that's being oppressed, I want to be oppressed too. Because if that's gonna give me millions, I mean, maybe we stupid, Corbin, for going down this road. Maybe we crazy.
But I really have some serious questions about this Nike. Why are you giving this guy so much money for what?
It sells, man. Because I feel like BLM, racism, and all this stuff right now, it is the hot topic right now. And they know it sells. And you know what it is? I think they're playing on the guilt of white people. Yeah. Like I said, white people never felt like this before. My friends never came up to me, felt guilty, or felt the need to apologize. And now all of a sudden it's just like white people want to feel like, hey, I'm sorry about what my people did. And, and now they want to contribute. But I'm just like,
they can cut me a check. I don't have a problem with it.
Hey, I'll take some money.
Put in the memo section, this is my reparations to you. Hey, no problem. I'll give them a receipt. I'll give them a certificate. I don't care. Yeah. Y'all cut me a check. I'll take it. Don't give it to the NAACP or the National Urban League. No, straight to me. I'm black as all day. Cut me that check. Give me that check. You don't need the United States government to force you to do some reparations. You really think black folk will do reparations? You really feeling all that guilty? You cut me a check.
I just want to make it known that I have yet to receive any money from any super white folks this last year. I'm still waiting.
Hey, there you go.
I'm still waiting. I got 2 black babies I'm trying to feed and put to school. So
that's right. Why are you sending it off to who is it? Why are you sending it off to Black Lives Matter so they can go around here and invest in real estate in California?
Exactly. Get all these mansions and cut them and separate themselves from the community that they claim to love.
Right.
Lunacy, man.
I don't know what she was thinking when she bought that property. Like, chick, didn't you know this? It's public.
Oh, I know what she was thinking. That's a nice house. I don't want to be surrounded by my own people because I don't want nobody to come in and steal my stuff. That's what she was thinking. She knows what's up, man, in the hood. That's why nobody get rich and stay in the hood, man. You
don't.
Very few. There are some that do, but not all.
Even those, a lot of them rappers even come out eventually.
Oh yeah.
Some rappers would say to the successful ones, man, at one point you got to come on out of there because you might get shot.
Yeah, man.
Look at your boy, who was it? Nipsey Hussle. My Lord.
Yeah.
he's there in the hood and he's trying to help a brother out, just came out of prison. He gets what? 2 bullets for it.
Yep.
Come on.
Nothing, man, for nothing.
Right. And over nothing. But your boy, Sean, what's his name? P. Diddy, Sean Diddy, whatever his name.
Peter, yeah. He done changed his name like 12 times. I can't keep
Yeah.
up, man. I don't even keep up with hip hop culture no more. It's too toxic, man. I can't.
He's up in that gated community. He ain't even trying to get close. He
All of
ain't
them.
trying to catch no bullet.
Yep. Jay-Z, all them cats, man.
Right.
Everybody, you know what? Everybody get money to change it.
Yeah. They hightail it, man. I'm out the hood. I'll rap about it, make some money, but I'll be daggone if I live there.
Exactly.
Get out of there quick. Yeah. Man, have you heard anything locally about this critical race theory stuff? Have you heard of how they're trying to push it and who's pushing it or anything like that?
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest, I've not heard anything about it locally. However, I do know in Jefferson County, in JCPS, that there are those of the woke majority who want it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't really know who's pushing it, but I just know I've been here long enough to know that this is a very woke county. And
Yeah.
that they want it and that they're going to push it. I know it's coming. It's across
Yeah.
the nation, man.
Yeah.
This is, like I said, this is an epidemic, if you
Yeah.
ask me. It's a woke epidemic, and people better actually start waking up to see what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing is, we are so uneducated right now, and we do not see that this is all Marxist propaganda.
Yep.
Oh, this is going to be utopian. This is going to be wonderful. This is what Karl Marx wanted, man. You know, everybody, you know, there's no class system and we're all just going to be equal and even. And,
right.
you know, guilting white people into being ashamed, you know, and making black people, I think it makes black people look inferior, man. That's what I feel like. It's like,
Right.
we can't do anything, you know, but so we got to shame white people. And it's just, it's frustrating.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because, you know, they talk all about this, you know, true history and that kind of stuff. And I've been reading a lot lately of Booker T. Washington. And, you know, he in turn talked about a lot of what our folks are doing during that time, you know, immediately after emancipation, all the way up to the early part of the 20th century. And it was remarkable about many of the successful Black businesses and Black business owners, et cetera, he was talking about.
Yeah, not even that, man. It was just the Black family was so intact in those days.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the Black communities were thriving. And that's when we really started getting into government. Man, we just had so much stuff going for us back then.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how coming off the hills of slavery, you know, and all this stuff, that we were a lot more intact than where we are now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think who was that white dude who came out with that study back in 1962, 63 or something. He was concerned about the dissolution of the Black family. And at that time, it was like, what, 25, 27% of Black children were, you know, part of a fatherless household. Now it's
80
it's
plus.
like, yeah.
80 plus, man.
80 plus.
That's insane.
We have created a whole new term as a result of that cultural disarray, you know, baby's daddy.
Oh, yeah.
My baby's daddy, my baby's mama. Not dad. It's my dad, it's my father, it's my mama, and it's my mother, but baby's daddy. That's how prevalent it had become. They had to develop a whole new phrase around it, you know, and that's horrific. And I don't know if slavery is all that bad, then it should have been that way from the beginning.
But you know, that was all part of the Great Society.
Right.
The Great Society stuff. We stepped in like, oh, hey, we will give you money. Just can't be in the house. And what's the man do? He leaves. And he just goes spread the seed from neighborhood to neighborhood. And next thing you know, you got all these kids growing up, man, fatherless. And studies have shown when there is not a father in the home, that kid will go astray. Yep. Mama got to work 2 jobs. Grandma tired. She don't want to deal with all that. So these kids are running amok, man. And we see it now with the crime rate. Like, if you look at Louisville right now, man, I think there's been over 100 plus homicides. Man, at least 85% of these homicide victims are Black.
Yeah.
You know, but I was telling my buddy the other day how all last year I heard white people kept saying silence is compliance, talking about police brutality. And I told him, I was like, you know, it's funny how when we talk about crime and murder in the Black community, it's nothing but silence. So is that silence? Is that compliance? I
Absolutely.
feel like we're saying it's okay that we do that. No, it's just our culture, man. It's just what we do.
Right.
Man, we're better than that.
Absolutely
Came
better.
up out of slavery, man, and now here we are. Defeated the KKK, went through all this stuff, man, and all they got to do is sit back and watch us destroy ourselves.
Right.
And if we say anything about it, oh, you ain't black.
Right. Right.
Because I truly care about Black lives, and Black lives really do matter.
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter is not a political statement. That is an action. We got to show that Black Lives Matter. You got to show the world that you matter to each other. And until that happens, other people ain't gonna take you serious.
absolutely. Right. And there were some Black intellectuals, scholars, long ways back who were raising this issue. Haki Matabutu, Jawanza Kunjufu, and it's interesting nowadays around this whole Black Lives Matter stuff. You rarely hear from them. They're not being projected out there. The only Black intellectuals and scholars that are being projected out there are the ones who are saying, "Oh yeah, the police are brutalizing us. They're chasing us through the streets and gunning us down and stuff." No,
That's not even scholars, man. That's just people with feelings
yeah,
speaking
yeah,
stuff that are not facts.
right, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Hey man, I got a hold of that copy of that book you once mentioned, "Color, Communism, and Common Sense" by Manning Johnson.
Yes, sir, man. I'm still going through it to where I'm trying to make notes so I can do it on my podcast. But brother, tell me, is that not play by play of everything going on today? And the part where he talks about the Black intellectuals back then that get money and then leave the community and go get their houses. As soon as he said that in that book, I was thinking about, well, that's the lady from Black Lives Matter.
Yes,
Exactly what she did. I was
right,
just, man.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
she was looking
And
to the future.
you'd also had mentioned how when you were reading it, you were thinking, when did this guy write this? Did he just write this last week? Because it's all relevant to what's happening right now. And I had to agree with
Exactly. It was scary, man. I was listening because I remember seeing it and I was like, whoa, man, this is literally last week,
you. Yep.
yesterday, day.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. This was written in like 1950s, man. I was just
Right.
like, and the thing is, like I said, we are so uneducated. What's the old saying, Corbin? If you want to hide something from Black people, put it in a
Put in a
book,
book.
you know?
Put in a book. Right. Yeah. The copyright on this is 1959.
1959, man.
Manning Johnson. Yeah. Yeah. 1950. It's a classic, really. It's a classic.
And I had never heard of it, ever. Never
Neither
heard.
did I. I didn't hear about it till you brought it up. I didn't hear about it till you brought it up. And then I said, well, let me go ahead and get a copy of this. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. It's pretty powerful. And be checking out some things by Booker T. Washington. A lot of times people only know about his Up From Slavery, but he wrote a lot of powerful stuff. And man, you want to talk about someone giving you a different historical perspective. And, really, if you had to compare Booker T and W. Du Bois, Booker T's got him beat hands down. It's often put out there, oh, W. Du Bois is this great intellectual, Dr. Du Bois and stuff. No, I'm no longer impressed with him at all after reading Booker T. Washington's writings. Not at all impressed with him.
Yeah, I think W. Du Bois, he was more so of the communist, man.
Yes.
Communist mindset, man.
Yeah, he joined the Communist Party USA when it was under Gus Hall's leadership, and they still have the letter. They preserved the letter, and he later left the United States. I'm not sure if he renounced his U.S. citizenship, but he later left and went to Ghana and died there in Ghana. He was interred there in Ghana, and for some reason, they're trying to dig him back up and bring him to the United States, and I wasn't quite sure why they were doing that. But yeah, he joined the Communist Party USA. He was very open about it.
And I remember, like you said, we name our schools,
Yes,
everything after W.B. Du Bois. It's crazy. It's just like, wow.
right. Like, as if there were no high achieving Black folk from Kentucky or Louisville we couldn't have named that school after. We're trying to inspire Black males to do better academically. And what do? We name it after some nut job communist. But also as if to say, oh, we've had no high achieving Black males in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Are you kidding me? It immediately should have come to mind, oh, we need to name this after Dr. Joseph McMillan or Frank Stanley.
You know, he even mentioned Manning Johnson. He even mentioned Louisville, Kentucky in his book. And some of the people that were doing work here, man, at that time frame. You know, it was just names I hadn't even heard. I was like, oh, really?
Yep. And I tell you, you know, a lot of people don't appreciate someone like a Ben Richmond. He retired from the Urban League, and really, people really don't have much appreciation for him on a lot of the great stuff that he did. And it was Frank Stanley who actually wrote a piece of legislation where they created the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights. And it was basically a state agency, a state-funded agency, and their job was to get fair housing laws passed and things of that nature. And my father was recruited for that. He was in Ohio. He was recruited to join that staff.
Oh, wow.
And Lake and Cosby.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That
Yeah.
staff too. Yeah.
He did some serious work here too, man.
Yeah. And so even though I have my political and theological differences with Dr. Kevin Cosby, if they were to say to me, hey, let's stop calling the Du Bois Academy and change it to the Lake and Cosby Academy, I'd have to go with that because he was a high achieving black man right here in Louisville. Right here in Louisville.
Did a lot of good.
Yeah, right here in Louisville. Man, it's been good talking to you as usual, man. I'm hearing that you're getting a lot of good downloads on your podcast and all. What's the news on that, man? Give us the
podcast. I did actually finally got some music. Thank God. And a guy from Australia helped me get some music together, man. I did the sound effects myself, but a guy from Australia helped me get the music. I just hit over 2,000 downloads. And I'll be honest, when I first started, I was like, man, you know, I'll probably get, my wife will listen in, a couple family members, but man, I get a lot of people that come up to me at work. Like, hey, man, thank you. Thank you. I'm like, hey, man, I really truly appreciate that. I really do. Because I didn't realize how tough podcasting was because I tell people, do you know what it's like to have to talk to yourself for 30 to 60 minutes?
Unless you're stone cold crazy, I guess, it is hard.
Man, my wife will tell me, I'll be walking around the house. I'll be thinking of things to say. It's like, who are you talking to? I'll tell her, my podcast listeners, because I'm just in my mind thinking of what I'm going to say next and what topics to go off of, because there's always something to say, but you don't want to just come out and say it. You want to actually sound intelligent when you do it, Right. And I tell people a lot, man, I'm just a guy with a microphone and an opinion. Nothing special. Just decide to do it one day, man. And I'm gonna say the book is still in process. I tell you, this is what I learned about writing a book, Corbin. Writing the intro is hard, writing the ending is hard, but even harder is when you have to go back through the book and decide the things you have to cut out. Because even though it's your story, you get so attached to your own stories, and each story just feels like a part of you, and it's so intricate in your story. But it's just like, man, I got to get rid of that part, and it's been so hard going back and like, I really don't want to get rid of that because I see where it makes a connection, but it might not make a connection with my readers because it's just a story, of something in time that's really not relevant, but it's a cool story, So I'm in that process now, man, just trying to downsize it.
Oh, okay. I hear that. And man, let me throw this bug in your ear again. I really think it'd be great if we get more conservative Black podcasters and we sort of come together like this every so often and just talk,
I'm all for it, brother.
Dialogue, see different ways we can sort of be supportive of one another. Because, really keeping our community out of that whole communist, socialist, Marxist bullcrap is important, not only for us, but for this country and therefore really the world. And then secondly, we have to, I think it's going to be up to more Black conservative podcasters to get our folks focus more on opportunity and on entrepreneurship and supporting the system of free enterprise. African nations are sort of coming around to that the hard way after decades and decades of mismanagement and deprivation and famine and things like that. They begin to realize, hey, government cannot do this. The Revolutionary Party cannot do this. what's going to bring us prosperity and stability is property rights and entrepreneurship and a system of free enterprise.
And then they come here and then they kill it, man. And there's somebody told me that Nigerians are probably the most successful class of Black people in America. And
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that
It-
because their priorities and what they cherish,
Yes.
as opposed to Black Americans, like they cherish education, hard
Yes.
work. Yeah. We
Yep.
like Jordans and what little Boosie didn't put out on CD. That's that's what's our priority, and that should not be our priority. It has to be our
Right.
education because we got to have a vision, and like the Bible says, where there's no vision, the people perish.
People
Black
pay-
Americans, man, we don't have a vision for ourselves besides what we're letting the government give to us. So
Right.
we got to take, freedom comes with responsibility.
Yes,
People don't realize that, man.
that's right. That's right. Well, brother, let me end it here. Let's keep in touch. Let's do it again soon. I'll also be telling you to send you emails about some folks I'll be interviewing, just to give you a heads up on that. And
Sir.
of course, keep in touch with me about your book and also, the success of your podcast. And if you're able,
I need to get you on mine, Corbin.
sounds good. I'd love it. And then let me know if you're ever able to connect with some other Black conservative podcasters. All right, man, as usual, it's been good.
Thanks, Corbin. I appreciate it, man. You take it easy.
You bet, brother.
Yes, sir.